All right, just Wynn. We're doing another review today. Well, not really a review, another little spin around. I'm going to do, this is sort of my gym room here where I work out, and then my staircase. So I'm going to review the shoes in my staircase into my gym. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best, gentlemen. This is hard for me. I know. I don't know why it's hard for me, but it is. But I'm really going to do my best to not swear on this channel. I swear a lot on my own channel in my own life, but I am a guest on a channel and I need to be well behaved. So gentlemen, as you can tell here, see, I was pretty lucky. I'm going to talk a lot on this in this little review, just in regards to how I get my shoes, the different channels, and to kind of give up some of my trade secrets of how I ended up getting the collection that I've got. So I'll start with the Don C's. These, I actually had about 25 pairs of these that I live in the Philippines, and there was a store called Titan 22 that ended up getting a bunch of these shoes in stock, and the resale on them when they first dropped in the Philippines was $625. I said to him, listen man, like, I love the shoe, I love the, I'm not a big believer in taking shoes in other people's sizes. You know, I think being a size 15 and a size 16, I have a tendency to have a ton of respect for the fact that, you know, people have a hard time getting their size. So I guess just being a Bigfoot guy, it was one of those things that, you know, I was never really about taking someone's shoe, but, you know, I sat there and sort of watched for a few weeks and they weren't selling at $625 in the Philippines. So I just started buying them and basically saying, listen, if anyone wants these, you know, I'm not going to take it from somebody else, but I'll give you the $625. So I ended up with a bunch of these. I don't resell, guys, so I'm sorry about that in advance. I'm keeping a full-size run for my kids, but I also give away, I also, everybody in my life that's important to me, my mom and my dad and my brother and my girls and my girls and my girls, all end up getting a pair of shoes. So it's a pretty interesting, you know, little thing that I've got. I actually am owed 3 pairs of these. So Mon, wherever you are, brother, hit me up, man. You owe me some shoes. So then I got the Soul Collector here. Again, I'm not exactly, I bought the shoe off of eBay, and I'm not exactly sure the history behind it, other than my friend messaged me and said, bro, you gotta buy this shoe. It's a size 15. He's like, let me make sure it is a size 15. It might be a 16. No, size 15. And he basically just said to me, you're not gonna see this shoe come available again. You know, get all over it. I think I paid $500 for it on eBay, which brings me to a point. You know, I get asked a lot about here's the M&M 4s, or the M&M 2s, sorry, there's the 4s there. I get asked a lot about, you know, Butter, how do you get your shoes, and what is, you know, the strategies that you take for, can you give any advice? And guys, at the end of the day, when you get into sample collecting, in particular, it really is a pay-to-play model. You know, there's a handful of people that, you know, have the shoes, that get access to them, they get them early, they get them from athletes, they get them from, you know, the Jordan brand, or they, you know, they've got the connections. And at the end of the day, these guys aren't collectors themselves, they're just resellers. And, you know, it's not as difficult as, you know, they make it out to be. You know, they talk about the plug, and I understand that, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, want to be, you know, I'm the plug. And I get that. And, you know, it's a marketing strategy. It sounds good. It's cool. But the reality is anybody can be the plug. And, you know, not on the new releases. There are people that have got the bot game figured out, and they, you know, they've got a bankroll, and they've got servers, and they've got this and that, and they've got, you know, a good technology to be able to go out and buy on the release date, you know, literally hundreds of the Yeezys, or hundreds of, and those guys, you know, I'm actually, if there's one person in the world that I'm in the sneaker world that I'm envious of, it's my brother Soul Expo, man. That guy's game's on point, and you know, he's a really great guy, and you know, just someone who's got the sneaker purchasing game figured out. But you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to samples, which is what I collect, I don't collect the general release shoes. You know, it's a pay-to-play model. So what I'm getting at with that is that, you know, anyone can be the plug for these shoes. You just have to have enough money to go out and buy them, and it's that simple. There's no, you know, oh, I got the M&M 4s for, you know, $500. That shit doesn't exist. Like, you know, the resellers are buying these for, I'm gonna guess, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 grand, and that's, you know, really the big divide right now in sneakers. And, you know, Justin, I know you've got a lot of young viewers, so I'm going to explain this a little bit better as to why some of the older collectors get upset, and it's because what ended up happening is over the last few years, as sneaker culture grew, and as these kids started coming along, there became a secondary market, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth market. And as an example, we'll just take this shoe here. This is the reverse champ set, right? And someone would have bought this shoe 5 years ago for $500 or $400 or $300. And now what ends up happening is, little Tommy, who's got the money from his mom and dad, which I don't have a problem with, that more power to them, they've got the cash. He buys it for $400. He sells it to his friend Billy, who's got his cash from his mom and dad, for $600, who sells it to his friend Tom, or Jesse, who's, for $1,000, who then sells it to Eric for $1,500, who then sells it to Harrison for $1,800, who then and all of a sudden this $400 shoe is now reselling at $2,500 or $3,000 or $10,000, and that's what frustrates and upsets a lot of the old school collectors, because they were used to being able to go in and in a time where people didn't buy shoes that didn't fit them. They respected one another. So there's a lot of animosity in the sneaker collecting world, and in particular the sample world, that the kids, quote unquote, are ruining the game. And at the end of the day, it comes down to jealousy. It comes down to the fact that, some of these old school guys are looking at it going, that's a $400 shoe, not a $4,000 shoe. You got to be nuts. This is the trophy room. There's a white and a black pair. I think that the white pair was much more limited. I don't know the exact number, but someone will know. This is the Dawn C, the white Dawn C. So I've got the Dawn C's over there, the blue that I showed you earlier. This is the white one. There's also a black Dawn C one as well. I don't have that yet. This was an eBay purchase that the guy, and here's a perfect example. The guy on eBay ended up bidding this size 15 up, and he gets stuck with it. And then I'm a size 15 that actually wanted it, but I slept on the auction, and the guy's going, well, I want $2,000 more than what the closing price was. I said, buddy, you're fine, but call me when you don't get that price. So I ended up giving him like $250 about 3 months after the auction ended, because it was like, there's not a lot of big size 15 buyers that want to buy a $5,000 shoe, right? It's crazy. But, so that's part of the problem, and kids, I hope that you can maybe understand it a little bit more. It's just culturally a different thing. These old school collectors, they come from a different time when, sneaker collecting wasn't about, let's see how many shoes I can get in multiple different sizes to resell. It was just see how many shoes I can get because I like the culture and I like the shoe. So anyways, guys, I'm going to keep going through, the LeBron, for me, the LeBron 11, 12, and 13 are they just never really, went off. You can, if you're looking to get into sample collecting and start, LeBron 11, 12, 13 is a great place to start, because a lot of these sample pairs are sitting on shelves, and you can get them for, in some cases you can get some of the LeBron 12 samples, especially the college ones. You can get them for $200 or $300. They're not really that expensive. But again, going back to it, guys, and how I made the connections, it really comes down to simply going out and having the money in the bankroll to pay with. One thing about sneaker resellers, and particularly the sample guys, it's a very sort of underground, discreet market. A lot of people don't want to go out and say, hey, I was the one that sold that shoe. And so what ends up happening is they don't really advertise a lot on eBay. They don't really advertise their business model very much, because they don't want to be known as the guy who's selling the shoes. But one of the ways that I did meet a lot of people was through Facebook. So this is the Jared Jeffries. This is a size 17. That also is a size 17. I don't usually buy shoes that are too small for me, but I will buy a shoe that is too big for me, because I know I can get into it. There's a second set of the reverse champ lows. So I met a lot of the resellers that I know. I met through Facebook groups, and again, it just simply came down to pay to play. So I knew there's a Q-Rich sample there. I knew that getting involved in the sneaker game, that I was going to probably overpay for a lot of shoes in the very beginning. It was going to be something that but as you got to know guys, especially through Facebook and through referrals, they knew me as a buyer. They knew Butter was going to buy shoes. So all of a sudden it became, well, do I want to have this sit on my shelf, or do I want to just give him a good deal and it will, he'll take it right away. So guys, if you're looking to meet the connections, it's all about networking in the sample game. It's all about who you know and getting to know guys. And again, a really great way to do that is through Facebook. Another great way to do that is through eBay. And I never really use, I have bought a lot of my shoes through eBay, there's no doubt about that. Here's a size 15, the 750. Very rare to get these in a size 15, and this isn't on my staircase, so I shouldn't be showing this yet. It'll be in the next Just Wynn video, but you know, those are two shoes I'm pretty proud of, is the 750s and the size 15, because they never released in a 15, so it was really tough to get it. I think this is called the Entourage or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, so eBay is another great place, and it's not really about buying on eBay. I do buy a lot through eBay, guys. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It's a great place, but there is, you know, you got to worry about fakes, and I never, ever do I purchase without using PayPal. You know, I've heard horror stories about, you know, I traded for this shoe, and you know, I don't trade, I don't swap, I don't, you know, I don't do cash transactions, I don't do any, I just do eBay, and I do, or sorry, PayPal. And I do invoices only. But guys, reach out to some of these people that you see. So if you see a guy listing a, you know, a rare pair of shoes, chances are that person's well connected in the sneaker game. And so it's not really that you want to go out and buy that pair of shoes from him. You want to get to know him because he might be able to add you to some of the sneaker groups. He might be able to add you to some of the private groups on Facebook, things like that. And that's literally how I met, you know, the majority. I have never bought one pair of sneakers through Instagram. You know, I met, other than through Urban Necessities, but everybody that I met was either through eBay or through the Facebook groups, guys. So, you know, that's probably the best advice that I can give you for networking and, you know, getting to know people. So Just Wynn, I don't think I even swore once. That's incredible. My mom would be so proud of me. So gentlemen, that's, you know, that's my gym room and my staircase, and I'll be back next week with another room to show you. Butter movement, God bless, I love you all, I need you all, be good to each other, be kind to yourselves, guys. You know, it's you know, it's an unforgiving world sometimes, and sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, and you know, be kind to each other, show each other gratitude and love. I love you all. Butter movement.